Shalom Aleichem and welcome to Machin Le'ira online smicha. An interesting shaila is discussed in the Sifrei HaPoskim. Obviously, a marriage is a very important event, very exciting event for a young couple, and it's obviously the first mitzvah in the Torah, the mitzvah of Puruvu. So there's a obvious question that could be asked. Baruch Hashem, the Chassan found the Kala, and they're about to get married. Isn't it a happy occasion enough that you should be able to say the bracha of שהחיינו וקיימנו והגיענו לזמן הזה? And halacha says that if you see a friend that you've missed for many times, halacha discusses when you could say the bracha of שהחיינו. Here you found your soulmate. Why would you not be able to make שהחיינו? So in Moira Ktsiya, Siman Reish Chav Gimel, he says that if Baruch Hashem, a chassan was blessed to find a good shidduch, for sure he should make שהחיינו. He's going to be mikayim a mitzvah, so you make a bracha on a kiyum mitzvah. And B, as mentioned before, it's no less than seeing your friend who you really like. And he goes on to say, I would say that the bracha doesn't have to be necessarily by the wedding. Even when they're closing the shidduch, at that time you could make the שהחיינו, because we know you can make a שהחיינו on a shmua tova, on a good rumor, and a good news that you heard. What better good news is than there's a new shidduch? That's what the Moira Ktsiya holds. However, the Chida in Machzik Bracha writes that, you know what, it's a very touchy topic. You should make the bracha b'loi shem u'malchus. Don't use Hashem's name. And most of the Achrayim Taka say you don't make the bracha at all. The Shach in Yeridei Siman Chav Ches Sif Katan Hey brings that the Marik holds you don't make the bracha of שהחיינו on anything that doesn't have a set time. And because this is not a set time, obviously this would be exempt from the bracha of שהחיינו. The Aruch HaShulchan in Siman Reish Chav Gimel Sif Daled writes the reason why you don't make a bracha שהחיינו on the wedding, because when they got engaged, the simcha is not complete yet, so you can't say שהחיינו. And by the time they got married, the simcha is complete, but you can't make a bracha anymore, because there was already a simcha that started way earlier. It's too late already to make the bracha. Therefore, even today's days where the eris and the nesuin are done together, all under the chuppah, we still don't make the bracha, because once it was established back then that since there was different time periods, you couldn't make the bracha not by the eris and not by the nesuin. Once it already became that way, we don't make the bracha even now too. And common practice is that you don't make the bracha שהחיינו not by the shidduchim, not by the nesuim, and b'chlal people are not so hastened in the brachas of שהחיינו, even though according to most of the poskim it's a birchas or reshus, because you really have to be sure with the simcha before you make a bracha. Others suggest, the Kaf HaChaim writes, if you want to really say שהחיינו, so if the chassan and kala are wearing new clothing, those clothing which halacha allows you to make שהחיינו, on the day of the chasna, you wear those new clothing, or some say a day or two before, whatever, and you have in mind the שהחיינו should also be on the actual wedding. There is an interesting hezber that's brought in Shuvas Sam Sefer or Chaim Siman Nun Hey. He gives another reason why שהחיינו is not said for a chasna. He says, after all, when you buy something new, a kli chadash or a pri chadash or a bias, you can make a שהחיינו. Why not by a chasna too? He says like this: Ki b'dvarim ha'elu hakol toli b'kadosh baruch hu atzmoi. All those things that we allow you to make שהחיינו, whether you have it or you don't have it, is all dependent on Hashem's will. A shidduch, Hashem does not block the person's decision. Hashem, even though the Gemara says, the famous Gemara, that Abarim Yom Kedem Yitziras Avlad, it already makes an announcement, Bas Pleni LePleni, but it's up to the chassan to find and decide who he wants to marry. And Hashem lets the person have his own bechira. And the Chassam Sofer says that you only make a Shechionu on something that the Simcha was given to you fully by HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Something that the Simcha, even if it's a Simcha, like a Chasna, but if it's your decision, the bracha of Shechionu does not apply.